Hey folks, Gorias Pass. Hey TNM Gaming, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel tonight. So, Train Sim 2015, Marias Pass in an SD40-2. Right, let's see what we've got to do. Eastbound intermodal that ran round you at Essex is on the climb. Your helper is attached and you'll receive the signal to proceed in a few moments. Be watchful for signal indications as you'll be following the intermodal all the way to Shelby. Okay, we've got our yellow, so let's get some brakes off and get moving. Let's take a look outside and see what we're falling here. Ah, very cool. Seems like a pretty long train. Let's see what we can do here. Looks like we're going uphill. I really should do a bit better at getting that updated a bit more promptly so that it doesn't look silly at one of the videos. Hey Jimbo, welcome to the channel. We should have the whole of the train moving now so we can afford to juice it up a little bit without snatching couplings. I haven't run this route in a while. It's nice to get into a local. I must admit I quite like the old SD40s. They've got a bit of a heritage feel to them. They're just still not heritage. They're not heritage yet. They're still quite used on the railroads. The S44s are really nice, but sometimes if you want a challenge, you need to turn down the power a little bit. Indeed, yeah, TNM, definitely. Lots of power. Although, again, that's where you want your ES44 or even something nasty like your AC6000. Hey Ricky, no, I wasn't streaming yesterday, I'm afraid. I needed to do a re-download of Train Sim just to try and fix some of the issues that have been occurring. But we seem to be back up and running tonight. Evening Alex, good to see you again. Just got to keep check on the speed here. We might be going uphill, but we were in danger of breaking the 25 speed limit. 30 speed limit doesn't take into effect until the last unit in our train has gone through. So earlier on today, Dovetail did a Twitch of their own with an interview with some of the people involved in the fishing project. Did anyone catch it? much like the Canadian route. This scenery up here on the mountains really is spectacular. Reminds me, no headlights on, I'll get in trouble with the viewers. I think I'm going to move my camera for this photo because being in the top left kind of blocks the main window. That's better. I just saw the video of me moving the camera over. It's like I'm a disembodied something. It's freaky. Amber signal, so we need to keep an eye out for the next one. It's probably got a proper name like medium approach, but I must admit my knowledge of American signalling is poor. I spent a lot of time learning the Metro North signalling to do the New York New Haven signalling work, but I'm still lacking some in other areas. I'm sure the viewers will correct me. Hey Rockrail, Panzer and Samo, good to see you back on the channel. Speed limit coming up at Java West Main 2, so let's just let the thing naturally slow down and we can put some of the gas back on again once we get down to the speed limit. Yeah, for some reason the green screen colour chroming thing seems to think my forehead is green. Don't ask me where they get that idea from. It's bright and shiny, it's not green. Hopefully that'll improve it a little bit, only a little bit though, because if I take it too much further back then everything starts flashing. Hey Simel, good to see you back on the channel again. Looks like we've got us a green light, so we're clear on to the main track. Hey Smell, yes, that's no problem. I mean, the computer was fundamentally okay. It was just, I was getting the odd scenario bin fail and track fail, and it was causing problems. So I thought the easiest to do is to clean it and reinstall it. It's not a common problem, I don't think. It's just that because I get a lot of the development content, it causes problems. What have we got here? The intermodal ahead of you just reported he has a unit that is not loading properly and he may be slowing. We be prepared for restrictive signal and possible stop. Okay, that's worth knowing. Alex, so what there is a licensing issue, and I don't quite understand all the terms of it, but suffice to say that we have to do as our licenses tell us to. And we're quite restricted as to where we can sell Burlington Northern Santa Fe products at the moment. So I believe that our licensing people are trying to work with BNSF to see if we can rectify that. But at the moment, it's out of our hands. Okay, so we have a red followed by an amber, which suggests that we are being diverted off the main at the next signal with a caution. Like the main thrust of the gradient starts here at Java East. And indeed, looking at that point down there, it looks like we've got a turn coming up. Intermodal struggling, looks like you'll have to stop. Thanks for the excessive amount of notice, that's all I can say. Hey Smelt, yes, the West Somerset Railway is a lovely route. It's very fun to drive, and of course, being on a current route that will also run steam engines quite appropriately, it's really good place to run all the different kinds of stock that you've got. So we're sat at this dwarf signal as instructed by the dispatcher, and I guess we're just going to sit here and wait now. Back in the cab, I think. Let's get back in the cab. That excellent view of the signal, so we can wait for that to change and let us out. If you have a thermos of good hot coffee, you may as well have a cup. You're going to be at Java for several more minutes until the intermodal clears the block. I'd estimate you'll get the dwarf signal at 9:16. It's currently 9:14:42, so about another minute and a bit. No problem. Oh, good question, Ricky. So who makes the DLC? We've got a number of teams in the company that make routes and locos. We have third parties that we work with, so like Mike Rennie's excellent FEF. So there's a large number of people involved in making content. In terms of who makes it, how it's made, that's a big question to answer. So routes made with all the tools that you've got as part of the game. Content like the buildings and the logos, they're made using a tool called 3D Studio Max, which is pretty standard in the video games industry. And there's other tools that come with the game, such as something called the blueprint editor, which you can use to set up physics characteristics and so forth. So there's a lot there. And I'm sure if you look around actually on a lot of the forums, community forums, you'll find quite a lot of information that people have been sharing with each other about how they got into making content, what tools they use, what techniques they use. It's good fun actually. If you haven't tried making a route, make one. Take one of our routes, make a clone of it, change it, and publish it to Workshop. That's what a lot of people have done, and it's really good. We have the signal, time to go. So even though we're moving forward, we're on such a hill, the back of the train's actually moving backwards. So in a minute you'll see the speed go down, and then it'll go up again. There we go. So now the back of the train is moving forwards. So this indicator here is actually the speed pretty much at the back of the train, is the way I tend to think of it. Yeah, let's put a bit more on so we can't get going. We're on quite a steep hill at this point, and we're trying to get the train moved from a standing start, which is far from ideal. Hey ECML, no, we don't have any plans to update the ECML route either of them at the moment. Yeah, nothing at the moment. Just keep an eye on the Facebook page, see if anything comes up there. And I'd have a look at Steam Workshop, see what other people have been creating on Steam Workshop. You might find that something of what you're looking for maybe on there. I've not looked particularly for that, so. Hi Ricky. Making a short preserved line is actually an excellent project to start with. When you're in the route editor, you can press Ctrl G and it will switch on the Google Maps overlay, and then it's really as simple as tracing over the top. I'm grossly oversimplifying it, but you'll find that's a good place to start at any rate. You can import terrain from supple SRTM data if you get that more advanced, and do all the hills and valleys for you. And but to be honest, I would just simply start by laying some track on flat ground and keep it simple to get going. You can always redo it with terrain later on, because gradients will add more complexity to the track laying. Hey Delano, good to see you on the channel. Thanks for joining us. Steep hill for the power that we've got available. We've got 3 SD40-2s on this train, and probably quite a lot of tonnage, but we are accelerating, so we'll get there. Good evening Netris, good to see you on the channel, thanks for joining us. Hey, thanks for that, Panzer. That's really great to hear. How you getting on with it? Nedris, what am I driving? It's an SD40-2 in Burlington Northern colours. We're on Marias Pass, and we've just left Java, heading eastbound, so we're going up the steep bit. Hey Rafael, I'm afraid I don't have any more news than's been posted on Facebook for the 378. I'm looking forward to that one myself. I must admit that's going to go a treat on South London Network. Glad you like the green screen, Alex. Yeah, it is a bit loud on this particular engine. Let me go outside. There you go. This particular engine is pretty loud, it has to be said. I've just turned it down on the volume mixer, so hopefully I'm coming through a bit louder than it is now. Thanks for highlighting that, that's very useful, thank you. Enitris, what do I do for a living? I work for Dovetail Games, actually. I help the team that make this superb product and all of the amazing add-ons for it. So very, very proud to work there, it has to be said. So it looks like we're running on notch 8 at the moment, which is flat out, and we're just about making it up we're maintaining at 24.5 miles per hour up this grade, so looks like we'll be good to make it. We're on 1.6%, so it's actually pretty average. The steepest grade in the States is about 5%, but there aren't many much like that. Most of them don't go above about 2.5%. Thanks for the follow, good Kieran. Good to have you on the channel. Hi, interest. Sure, go ahead, ask me questions. I'm not sure what I'll be able to answer, but I'll try to help you as best as I can. Love the super elevation on those curves, makes everything look that much more interesting. So, a couple of questions there. Alex, can't answer that, right? Netris, Too early for that, I'm afraid. We don't have anything to say about that. That one will be definitely one that will be a question that we'll be answering on Facebook and Engine Driver at the appropriate time. Kieran, where am I? That's it's actually a green screen, and it's meant to look like I'm in a Class 319 cab. It was better than the. Someone actually said to me in the office, "Are you doing that in your toilet?" Because it looked a bit like the boiler, and I'm actually in the garage, and it looked like a bit like the boiler looks a bit like a cistern. So I thought this would be a bit more fun, a bit more relevant, and a bit more interesting. ACML, yeah, I mean, we do, but to be honest, I already had a fair chunk of the content before I started working for the game, because this has been a hobby of mine since 2000. Not just this particular simulator, but other simulators. I used to run a website called UK Train Sim way back in the day, which I ran for probably a good 10 years before actually joining the company, because I thought this would be a really good way to help craft what I believe is the ideal train sim. That's pretty much my job now, so pretty lucky there. Hi Netris, you missed a really great opportunity actually. With the Steam full sale, probably about the last 24 hours there, we had the main game on 85% discount, so it was a stunning time to start. But not to worry, there will be more opportunities, and you know what, the game's just worth it at full price even. So, what is the maximum size for the user-made route? Well, you know what? You might say you want to recreate all of the Belgian network in one route, but in real terms, that would probably take you the rest of your life, because it takes an awful long time to make routes with this kind of detail on them. Just even laying the track is going to take quite a while for all of the Belgian network. Welcome MB68DK. So what we generally find is our teams have 4 or 5 people in them, with the artists, route builders, the scenery layers, and so forth. And a team of 4 or 5, you're generally looking at producing 60 miles in 4 months. So you can multiply that out and work out what one person can reasonably achieve. In fact, they probably achieve less at a slower rate than that. And our guys have got a very good degree of skill in terms of optimizing where they've put their workload as well. So I think it's important to. You're going to run out of hours before the game runs out of the ability to render your route. Let's put it that way. So green on top, red on bottom, that means we are clear for the main line. So the signal at the top is main line, signal at the bottom is for some secondary line. So that means it's probably a junction up ahead, which we are not taking. So we're good to go. I can put the throttle back on. Hey Tom Tiger, welcome to the channel. Good to see you. Hey there, Daily Rail. Good to have you on the channel with us. Sorry there, Panzer, I missed your response. So you're going through the tutorials in Academy, I take it. That's an excellent place to start. Learn to drive the trains, learn to play the game, and you'll find everything else comes actually a lot easier. So I hope you're going okay with them. Are you having any problems? Alex, FSX on Steam? No more news from that one, I'm afraid. It will come in all due time. Daily Rail, what route is this? This is Marias Pass, as it says. I took my finger off the button and lets me speak. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's Marias Pass. Do I know how many people use the game? Not exactly, I must have been. No, a lot, I would say. A lot. That's fine, Daily Rail, you're not the only one. I think because it's over there vertically, it's just not naturally something that you would scan, but I didn't want to take up any more of the game screen, putting more rubbish on the screen, so I guess it's better than nothing. I'm a bit slow here, time to speed up. So, ETA in 1.3 miles is at 9:38:27. We're due in at 9:37, so we're actually running pretty well to schedule, slightly ahead, which is where I'd like to be. Welcome to the channel, DC09. Good to have you with us. Oh yes, we're definitely a long way up now. Start to see the parallax effect with the near and far scenery, which looks really cool. I used to play some of the earlier train sims, like the old Microsoft one, using, I don't know if any of you remember, Nvidia and other companies used to have these 3D shutter glasses, which they used to hook up with a wire back to the back of your graphics card. And thanks for the follow, MB68DK. And I remember in one particular case, I was driving Glacier Express, I think it was, by Simtrain, if memory serves, driving around the, I'm going to say Austrian, I might be wrong, the Austrian region, it's very much, you're very high up and there's lots of distant stuff going on, and the 3D effect was absolutely stunning, even for an old game like Microsoft Train Simulator, where the detail was frankly abysmal compared to what we're seeing now anyway. But the 3D effect was absolutely amazing. Is Dovetail an English company? It is an English company, yes it is. I'm speeding, hold on. Hey, thanks for the follow there, Nina Sharp. Are we going to see other routes than USA, England and Germany? Well, we've already done a South African route, where, well, certainly one of our partners did a South African route, which I hope everyone has had a look at, because I certainly enjoy driving that one. I must admit, I have no idea what the answer to your question is there, I'm afraid. Time will tell. I hope we do. I really hope we do. There are some really fantastic railways around other parts of the world. I know personally I'd like to see some Japanese Shinkansen. I'd like to see some, thanks for the follow, Tom Tiger. I'd like to see some high-speed TGV action. But I'd also like to see some sort of classic American Maybe go to Chicago in the 50s. I think that'd be really nice. So yes, I hope so. Good to see you on the channel, Darkness Monster. Good, we've got our full timeliness bonus. Shame we lost 16 points for speeding. Let's try not to do that again. So we're just coming through put my teeth back in. Blacktail Main 2 on our journey up. I know you're one helper unit short and that we stopped you on the grade. Are you going to make the hard climb from Blacktail's summit okay? I'm that hard. Yes, we absolutely are. Yeah, we're good for close to track speed. We'll drag this train up the summit. Absolutely. Hey, thanks for the follow there, ALG Alex. Good to have you on board. If you've just joined us, we're running Mariah's Pass, heading up the hill, heading eastbound. We've got two SD40-2s at the front, one SD40-2 at the back, and yes, we're struggling up the hill, trying to keep to time with one engine short from what we should have. Stand on these rocks and watch this train go by, shall we? So just in case you're wondering, the flickering is because I'm zoomed in so far, and you end up with something called Z fighting. It's an unfortunate side effect of having the ability to zoom in so far. How many wagons? You know what? I'm going to say I have no idea. It looks like quite a few. Probably just about as many as you should have for a train with this much power on it. So yeah, quite a few cars on this train. Sorry I missed your comment there, Daily Rail. You've just come off playing a scenario on Mariah's Pass with a head-on collision. Ooh dear, that's not good. Which scenario was that one? Was that one of the ones that came with the product, or is that a workshop one, or one you've made yourself? Come back down to notch 6 since we're actually ahead of the curve at the moment. We've managed to accelerate back up to 25.4 miles per hour. So come off the throttle and let's not speed. That would just be silly. Back to notch 5. Green light, good to go. Let's keep going up the hill. I think the dispatcher would be foolish to try and stop us on this hill at this point. Let's go back to notch 4. In fact, I might just go to notch 3. It's very easy to lose track and not catch a signal daily rail. It's very easily done, and it does remind you to pay more attention outside the window. It's something I'm guilty of myself. So our next target is a waypoint at Summit, Maine, due in at just after 10 o'clock. It's currently 9:42. It reckons we're actually going to, in fact, it reckons we're making really good time. You can see the ETA is coming down quite fast. So that's excellent news. I don't mind that at all. Okay, we've let the speed drop down a bit now, so notch back up again, and let's see if we can just get back up to 25. I should have been paying more attention to that, really. Guys, if you like that kind of thing, then try having a look at New York New Haven. It's a fully in-cab signalling system, so there's actually very little in the way of visual signals, and the whole thing is done by updating displays in the cab, and then you have to you get alarm sounds which you then have to react to, put the train into brake to slow down for. So it's a really unusual driving experience, and if you like the in-cab alarms, you'll love New York New Haven. The ACS64 that it comes with has got a good implementation of that, if I do say so myself, as does the Kawasaki M8 and the P32 AC DM, which is it's sort of a third rail diesel combination, a bit like the 73 in the UK. And again, if you like that kind of thing, then just drive any German loco with PZB enabled, and you'll be pulling your hair out fairly quickly. It's really need to keep on your toes. But when you do, wow, good fun, really good fun. When you complete a scenario with full PZB enabled and you get to the end, that's yeah, you feel good about that. You know you've really driven like a driver then. It's always nice to see another train coming in another direction. It actually happens relatively rarely, except on the busiest times in America, because they're so long. But it's always good to see. So signal 123, wish you could speak to signal boxes along the line using cab radio. Well, I've got another one for you, West Highland Line. So So that has an implementation of the RETB signalling system, or radio electronic token block. And if you haven't taken a look at the route yet, then I strongly recommend it. The way that it works is that you communicate with the signaling the signaller to receive electronic tokens and to give them back, get permission to move down the line. It's great fun. It's just notching down there, go back up to 25.5, but let's notch down a bit further. And yeah, so definitely West Highland Line is well worth a look if that's something you're interested in. Not to mention the fact that, hang on, what have I done here? Pressing all the wrong buttons. Rampant, one of my fingers is pressing all the wrong buttons. It will be fired, that's fine. Yes, it's also a beautiful route, both in reality and in the way that it's been recreated. So yes, highly recommended, and I'm going to stop gibbering about it now. So this is where a professional engineer would have worked out what the right notch setting is for the throttle here, whereas I'm just going up and down like a yo-yo. Okay, this is the difference between me playing a video game and a real engineer who knows his job. Hey Jamie, good to see you on the channel again tonight. I don't think it helps that it looks like the grade has increased. We're now on a 1.9%. I'm sure it was 1.6% earlier on, but that's fine. It's allowed to increase. Nature does that sort of thing. Ooh, yeah, that's a long way down. We're right on the edge. Yeah, you see, in reality, I wouldn't be very comfortable with that kind of a drop. I'm having a little bit of vertigo. Anyone ever said who I look like? Yes, well, I'm not the only gee in the village. You'll find, I know I'm pretty sure I've seen some upgrades to Oxford to Paddington that the community have done on Steam Workshop. So take a look at Steam Workshop and see if that fits your bill. Because I think I saw actually someone had extended the line down to Heathrow as well on that on the Steam Workshop version. Yes, I know, I get it all the time. When I was younger, it was Elton John. So the person I look like seems to be getting younger as I get older, which probably is a good thing. I'm thinking after this, I quite fancy a spot of London to Faversham actually. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do the reinstall, to try and get that working again properly. So I think once we finish this, that's what I'm going to have a look at. There's a couple of scenarios in there that I think will be excellent. Not sure what you mean, HTML. Is it that it's sort of sparkling and dotting? Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about that. DRL, do I prefer slower trips or faster high-speed train trips? I'm going to be really useless and say I like both. I really do. I like journeys where you've got to struggle up these hills. I find that interesting. Journeys where you've got to struggle down the hills and learn how to operate the brakes properly. Well, it looks like we're coming to the top of a curiously named place called Summit. But I also, every now and again, just like to blast it with a high-speed train as well, whether it's an Ice 3 over in Germany, or the Acela in New York, or the Plus 395 Javelin in the London Faversham. One of the things, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here. Come on, that's better. So yes, one of the things that I really like about London Faversham actually is that it's a really good sort of 50-50 mix of some nice fast running combined with some slower stop-start running, which is it's a good change of pace. You get to sort of do a little bit of everything in your scenario. Yes, the mark on my head is because for some reason the system thinks that I've got a green forehead, and I don't know where it gets that idea from. It's bright and shiny. I'm definitely going to give it that, but it's not green. It's not green. So we're coming through Summit, and we're coming through Summit quite early, about 6 minutes early. So that's not probably too good. That could mess up some timings later on. So as we come off the top of the grade here, we've got to be a bit gentle as we come down bring down the throttle, otherwise we're going to start racing away. And true to its name, it looks like Summit is the top, and we're going to start going down the other side. So has anyone seen the new functionality that Steam have just launched today, where they'll let you broadcast what you're doing to people? You can just opt to watch someone play a game on Steam. I guess that's a bit like the way you can do that on other services like OnLive. Seems like a good natural extension of their other facilities they've got for streaming games to other machines on the network. So, has anyone here had a play with that yet? What do you think of the idea? Alex, no, we're not upgrading the Great West Main Line, or at least we haven't got plans to at the moment. But if you go and have a look at Steam Workshop, I believe I've seen at least one or two users that are probably right up your street. Right, so we've done 3 points, we're at 730, so we've got our bronze medal, unless we make a mess of going down the hill. We're just shy of the silver medal, and another 250 points will put us right over the gold. So, fingers crossed. Speed limit's also gone up as well, so good opportunity to let the train accelerate down this side of the hill. Looks like my jumper is getting picked up as green as well. I've obviously got the settings set a bit too weak. What I found was that if I set the settings less weak, then the whole background just starts flashing like crazy. So this seems to be the least worst option. I just saw on the list we've got Richard on there as well. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the channel. Another green signal. Excellent. So now we can rejoin the other line and proceed. So this scenario is called Over the Top. So that suggests we're going to be heading down the other side. You can see the speed is starting to take away now. The train's starting to run away with it. So let's just apply a little bit of air brakes and get hold of it. And what we'll do is we'll drop that and put some dynamics on now that I'm paying attention. So the way that most railroad engineers that I've read about seem to drive these things is when they're going down a hill, you use the dynamic brakes to do a lot of your braking. They actually account for quite a lot of it. If the dynamic brakes won't cut it, then you apply. Hang on a minute. Apparently the dynamic brakes just won't turn on. That's an excellent start. So I don't know quite what's going on there. I probably missed some detail because I haven't read the manual. So what I was saying was what the engineers would do is they would apply a little air brake, a minimum service application of £6, and then they'd use the dynamic brake to trim it. In fact, going down Kicking Horse Pass with quite a heavy train, they can go down it with the minimum service application, £6, and then use the dynamic brakes just to trim it. Of course, the main benefit of dynamic brakes is that you can apply them and release them and variably as much as you want without any kind of penalty. Whereas air brakes, not quite so on this implementation, but on some of the other locos that we've done more recently, you'll find that releasing the air brakes actually is quite a costly exercise because it can take quite a while before the air system recharges enough for you to actually reapply the brakes properly again. So it can make it actually quite hazardous if you're careless with your with your braking usage. Just realised I've got throttle on. That's silly. That would be why the dynamic brake wasn't working. So there's a 10-second setup time, and then you can hear the dynamic brakes coming on as we start to get control of the speed and bring the loco down. There we go. Are we going to do it? Yep, we're bringing the speed down on the dynamics. Matt, you played the Riviera line. What did you think? I love the Riviera line. I think it's a fabulous route. The detail on it is stunning, and the Pacer, which, if I'm completely honest, is not my favourite loco in real life. It's an absolute pleasure to drive in the game. Lovely detail inside and out, and yeah, it's just absolutely fabulous. Love it. One of my favourite areas of the world, actually, around the Dawlish coast area, which is all included, where you're running along the coastline there. Absolutely stunning. So the line runs from Exeter to Davids, through Exeter to St Thomas, and then down through Torquay, and finally into Paignton. So yeah, it's a lovely drive. If you actually look on the YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which you can find along the top there, I can't remember when it was, but there were just recently one of the routes we actually did a drive through on. We did the whole line Exeter to Paynton in the Pacer, and yes, that's a good way. If you want to have a look at the route, that's a good place to do it. So we've got 1.7 and a bit miles into Bison West Main 1. And it looks like we're going to be stopping at Bison East Main 1, so not far from here, I think. There you go, 3.4 miles away, so you can keep that in mind with our stopping. Now, looking at the gradient profile on the bottom, we've actually reached the bottom of this little bit of descent, so the speed's going to drop off now, so we can just ease up on the dynamics. Bearing in mind that some of the train is still actually coming down the hill, so we do need to watch it. And we've got a 45 limit coming up, just in time for us to need to start stopping. Fantastic. So we can lose the dynamic brakes now. I think the next brakes we're going to need are going to be ones to stop the train. No, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Gabe Newell, I'm sad to say, but who knows what the future brings. Doesn't matter if we're running a bit slow here. Our due time at Bison East is 10:18, so we've got 15 minutes to do about 2 miles. So even I should be able to do that. Hey Trappy, good to see you on the channel. Thanks for joining us. If you just joined us, we're running on Mariah's Pass with the SD40-2. We're actually just coming towards the end of this particular scenario, and then we'll get something else going. Sorry, but I've got several priority westbounds approaching Glacier Park. I'm going to have to hold you at the east end of Bison Siding. Be prepared to stop. That's the next waypoint in 1.75 miles. So we're going back downhill again for this one, so just need to keep an eye on the speed, although we have now gone up to a 45 limit, so that's excellent. Someone else at work said to me today that it's all very well me sitting with this fancy green screen image of a loco cab, but they wanted it to move and make it look like I was actually driving the train. I've had a look at doing that. I think my poor laptop would probably melt, so it's going to remain probably static for a while to come yet. Speaking of melting, I was just wondering why my laptop was getting a bit warm. It's only got 4 fans on it. It's supposed to have 5. Yes, it desperately needs the cooling that badly. Okay, so Bison East has just turned up at about just under a mile away. And there'll be a red light there, so if we don't stop in time, then we fail the scenario. But let's not think that way. This will be easy. I should probably start thinking about some brakes in a minute. We've got plenty of time. Due in at 10:18. It's now 10:07, so 11 minutes to do 0.6 of a mile. What inspired me to start a stream? What an excellent question, Alex. Because there are so few other people doing train sim, and I know train sim YouTube Let's Plays are quite popular, and I thought if people saw more of what was going on with train sim, they'd be able to ask questions. They could see different products, different routes, different locos, and it might give them a more full idea of just what exactly the hobby involves. That's what I hope. And I'm sure people will tell me if I'm getting that right or not. So I said there'd be a red light at the end. Apparently there's a green light at the end, but let's just pretend it's red, shall we? Almost. We stopped just a bit shy there. And loop. Time to bring it to a stop. Yeah, Trish. Well, tell him to drop me a message on my Facebook. You can see the link on the top of the page. And yeah, I don't know quite why he wouldn't have got an answer. We're always keen to hear from everybody in the social community. So yeah, get him to give me a direct message on Facebook, and we'll take it from there. Hey, Sastruba, welcome to the channel. Hey, 984 points. If we hadn't floofed that 16 points on exceeding the speed limit, we'd have had a perfect run. Excellent. Right, let's go and try something different. I will be back in just a minute, folks.